Shut up and sit down.
Hi, I'm Dan Cox. This is your MMA update. Today we're going to be talking about Nick Diaz. He is the news right now. The suspension to the NSAC for marijuana, multiple times caught, 5-year suspension. Man, there's a lot of people, a lot of buzz that's happening as far as the fans and support. I mean, this is literally reaching the White House. That's how far it's gone. I'm joined today by my good buddy, my partner, Aaron. Aaron Baum can't make it. He's saving the city of Boston. He is literally working 3 or 4 different shifts, and God bless him for it. But listen, what are you thinking about all this stuff that's happening? I mean, it's amazing to me, the response that's coming from the fans and everything.
It's pretty crazy, isn't it? The suspension, I mean, that's, was a given, something that's going to happen. The term, the length of it, that's pretty crazy. That's a little bit excessive. But the fan reaction, that's another thing altogether.
It is. It is. And, I've written articles about it, and as far as my opinion goes, listen, Nick knows, and he was told, he's went through this before, do not show up and test positive again. If you do, you're gonna catch hell, and he did. So as far as that goes, my opinion, that's Nick's fault. That's on Nick. It's his responsibility. He should have never have shown up with that in his system. And listen, he knew something would happen. Obviously, he didn't think 5 years. Now, just from that standpoint alone, Aaron, do you see the person that's at fault here as Nick Diaz?
Yeah, I do. But I guess, the bottom line is, I do. I think the suspension was crazy ridiculous, and it's kind of like it becomes almost one of those things with the whole sleeping pills and taking a Tylenol, being on the list. I mean, it's marijuana, so does it really even need to be on that list in the first place? And that's probably what's got the fans just going haywire like they are,
Yeah.
And you can't blame him for that respect, but at the end of the day, he's a professional athlete, he knew the rules, and it's not like he's getting paid peanuts, he's getting paid millions and millions of dollars to do this. So he knows those rules, you should obey those rules to get paid. It's that simple. The rest, okay, yes, it's gone excessive, but that is the bottom line in terms of the basics.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I see it too, because at the end of the day, it's up to Nick whether or not he's going to come in clean or not. Is pot a performance enhancer? Of course not. The problem that I'm seeing here is with the NSAC and the fact that their policy is it's a banned substance. If it's a banned substance, it doesn't matter. If you're caught multiple times with a cold tablet in your system, they're going to punish you. That's a problem. This is what needs to be changed. I think it's going to be changed. We need to put drugs in categories, and the fine should go accordingly, because how can you possibly justify a guy that's doing steroids and has done steroids in the past, and I'm not talking Anderson Silva, other fighters, and never got a 5-year suspension. This is basically retiring Nick Diaz from the sport for marijuana, which, again, it doesn't matter if it's legal in the states, if he's got a card. When it comes to the commission, it's a banned substance, and I think it needs to change.
I agree 100%. I think the biggest problem is not, he did wrong, there's no question there, but the biggest problem is the commission's structure and the way that they're doing things. I think that's the biggest problem by far. You look at something like, the Wanderlei Silva issue where they did the lifetime ban. That's stopping someone for life. Okay, you refuse to take a test, or refuse to do it, or whatever you want to call it. You refuse to take a test. But at the end of the day, they put a lifetime ban on someone for not taking the test. So, he went to the courts, he got to take him down to 2 years suspension, which is more reasonable. I mean, okay, 2 year, 4 year, whatever they want to do. I mean, they're out for blood at the moment. It's as simple as that.
That's it.
You know, and then Shale, he got his 2 year suspension, but he quit already. He just resigned before he even went in there. So it was just a formality, you know.
Yeah.
And he only did that because he was having a kid, you know, and he needed that testosterone replacement to do that, and so that's why he resigned from the sport. And he told them that up front, and that's how it was going to be. And he said that he couldn't stop taking it, and that's why he quit the sport. They still gave him that 2 year suspension anyway.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, listen, if you're going to hurt the fighters, you know, I mean, we both know, AJ, if you're going to hurt the fighters, it's in the pocketbook, right? I get throwing a big-ass fine on these guys. That's fine, because it's disrespectful to continually go in front of the commission testing positive for anything that's banned over and over, because you already know something's going to happen. So the fault goes to the person, but you cannot take their ability to work away. And for me, that's what's so unfair. And Nick Diaz is not a young chicken. This guy he's been around for a long time. He still has some big fights left in him. And I think that they're trying to make an example here. And I think they're able to make an example out of a Nick Diaz because of the way he's so outspoken versus, let's say, an Anderson Silva, who had the most ridiculous hearing I've ever seen in my life, and with excuses that just range from, you know, a performance enhancer he got from a buddy in Thailand or some shit to God knows what. You know, I mean, listen, at least Nick Diaz ended up coming to the point, accepting it. He didn't like it, but he did accept it. He's going to do what he has to. But do you think it's going to stand? You think this 5-year suspension will stand?
No, not at all. I don't think so. And you brought up a really good point too. I think they are making an example. You know, a good example, exactly what you're saying is, you know, all the delays that Anderson Silva had and everything else. You know, when he finally got into the hearing, he was remorseful and everything else, and did what needed to be done. You know, played the role, so to speak. Nick didn't do that. You know, Nick just played fifth.
Yep.
That was all he did. He just didn't seem to kind of have that empathy that they wanted to hear, and so they just put the foot down and just went, that's it, you know.
Yep.
And I don't think it'll stand. I think what will happen is that his lawyers will do the same thing that Wanderlei Silva's lawyers did, and they'll fight it in the courts, and then they'll basically go, the commission doesn't have the right to actually stop someone from working and earning a living, and then they would say, you need to have something more reasonable in terms of punishment. And that's true. I mean, you can't stop someone from earning a living for 5 years. That's crazy.
You know what? It's not only is it unfair, but again, we're looking at a commission that's trying to establish its dominance again, right? Because of all of the PEDs, the steroids, the loss of control, the change of people on that committee. They're looking to establish dominance and say, if you mess with us, we will punish you. I think the difference in this situation here with Diaz is he's got fan support from the immediate minute that story hit. The people on Twitter and Facebook, they just rose up. I mean, we've got, now there's a petition going to Obama, for God's sake, about this. I mean, now can you imagine something like that? And this is just a matter of a couple days. That speaks volumes to me, to not only that they love Nick Diaz, but more how they despise this punishment and how they don't see marijuana as an issue whatsoever. Because listen, we both know, if I'm going to fight someone and they want to smoke dope, fantastic. Smoke up, right? I'm all for it. The steroids is different, you know? So the categorization of these drugs has to be made. It can no longer be just banned substance and they're all the same. It cannot stand that way. I think there's too much on the line for these fighters. I mean, listen, you're on steroids, you can kill someone, you're stronger, more aggressive. You know, the guy's recovering from hard workouts and he's using marijuana to do so. You know, hey, I just don't see a problem with it personally. My problem is Nick knew better. Nick, you should have never attested him. But you did and you lost. Now you got to live with it. But I'll tell you what, the punishment isn't fair. I think it's bullshit. I don't think this guy deserves it. And it brings up other questions too about the NSAC and you know, is there other agendas going on there? You know, is everything on the up and up?
Well, that's the big. I mean, to me, that's the biggest worry of the whole thing. It's. I mean, if you look at the trend that's happened, I mean, it hasn't just started in the last kind of 3 to 6 months. It's been going for the last 12 months. Ever since the UFC handed it back to the NSAC, and they've just basically gone, here's a bunch of money, you guys sold it again because we stuffed it up. You know, they tried, and I'll give the UFC credit, they tried to make the issue, they tried to improve the situation themselves. But, you know, when they had the Kung Lee problem and then a few other issues where they tried the testing themselves, and in Brazil it didn't work. There was another guy, I can't remember his name, that got tested when he was in the ambulance as well, and his testosterone levels were really, really high. But, I mean, he was just fighting and he was bleeding in the ambulance. I mean, of course he's going to be all amped up, you know. So those kind of things where, unless it's done with an actual structure in place, it's not going to work. So when they handed it back, of course they're going to be expecting results. I mean, you can't give, you know, an organisation like the Commission, you know, I don't even know what the figure was, but it was, you know, it was tens of millions of dollars and not expect results. And so that's what's happening. The Commission is now going, oh, we've got to do something, we've got to produce. And so they're producing, but they're overkilling. And to me, I think they really just need to kind of figure out the basic, do we really need to be this harsh on that drug? Can we let this one go? And they just need to analyse it from the ground up and kind of sort it all out. Because they're just being ridiculous on a lot of stuff now. They really are.
To me, they're defeating the entire purpose of what they're trying to do, which is establish dominance, credibility, and be the boss. What they're doing is they're getting isolated from the fans. The fans now see them as the enemy, and maybe even as a corrupt organization in the sense of things like Jose Aldo, for instance. You know, the UFC comes out, he's a rib injury, their doctors look at it, they show an x-ray, there's no fracture in that x-ray, it's cartilage. You know, NSAC gives him permission to fight, they release him to fight. And then we find out later with another x-ray that's proven, as far as my knowledge, proven to be the correct one, and it's an obvious fracture that I can see. And you start to wonder, why is it? You know, where did that happen? How could the NSC approve somebody and then not have the right x-ray, and who's at fault? And so it just brings so many things in question when that happens. You hate to see it, you know, you really do, because there's so much on the line right now. It's a pretty scary thing.
Yeah, I agree. And see, that's a really good one that worries me. Like, if you look at that, like, basically you have Aldo's doctor, or, you know, he went to the hospital and that doctor basically said it's fractured rib. So the UFC have their doctor who communicated to that doctor, but they actually went to the Commission. So you have 3 doctors. And so the UFC's doctor told the Commission that he was okay. And so the Commission said, yep, he's ready to fight. So they didn't actually bypass the promotion. They went straight with the promotion and said, yep, they're both cool. And that's what happened. So you actually have a conflict of interest, even though they're meant to be a separate entity. And in my view, like, you know, the UFC building this giant, whatever it is, like a $2 billion or $1 billion hospital facility that they put in Vegas for all the fighters, and, you know, all the rehab and everything that they're doing. That's just an extension of this. So what they're going to be doing is they're going to, yep, that's great, you know, everything else, and they're going to get the best rehab and care and all that kind of stuff. But it's really just to actually help put their product back out in the market quicker.
Well, they have to, you're right, they have to be.
It's really to help, you know, for the benefit of the fighter, it's just to get their product out quicker. I mean, if you look at Bigfoot Silva and Anderson Silva, they both had the same doctor, and they both got proven guilty with the steroid use.
Yeah.
So both under the UFC, the doctor was paid by the UFC for the rehab.
Yeah.
So, and then, you know, okay, they're guilty because they should know better in what they take and what gets put in their body and everything else. But I mean, the doctor is paid by the UFC. So it's a conflict of interest. It's just such a grey and murky area. It's crazy to me.
It is, and it's one of many. I mean, I think this is the price they're paying for trying to instate insurance for fighters. and which is a great thing. But what comes along with that is when a fighter gets an injury, like Cain Velasquez when he was out of the first Mexico card with a torn meniscus in the knee. Guys fight with that all the time. But why fight with it if you have insurance and you're the champ? So, why? So that's a great thing. Then on the other hand, your cards are falling apart. You've got to have people step in. So now you do need that facility. You do need to get these guys fixed up and back up fighting. And so it is all kind of linked, My concern though is with the NSAC, it seems to be just, like you said, it's out of control. The fight against Diaz, there's no way it's going to stand. You cannot put that kind of a fine on a man. I don't care if he's been caught 2 times or 3 times. It's so far unproportionate to the other drugs. I don't see it happening. I see them coming up with a system where there are levels, it's not just a banned substance, this is testosterone, this is steroids, this is cold tablets. You know what I mean? So something's going to have to happen, Listen, Aaron, you had some shout-outs you wanted to give, I think, did you?
Oh, yeah. First up, I wanted to give a quick shout-out to Andrea Lee, KGB Lee, just because I didn't even realize, but I just saw it on Instagram this morning. I saw that she actually did a quick shout-out to our website before we actually became LUB-MMA, and I realized that that's how long she's actually been associated with us, and I was just like, wow, that's pretty crazy. So I just wanted to say a quick thank you to her for supporting us for that long. And then the other thing, I've got to click on the PC here and let the winners know of the T-shirt competition for Invicta.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, so it was going to be actually one winner, and we had a number picked out, but the person that actually won it, believe it or not, was Roxanne Modafferi. So I don't think it's probably right to give Roxanne the T-shirts, especially seeing as she was actually at the event. So yeah, that doesn't really work out too well. So we picked another person that retweeted it, and I ended up going with basically just went next in line and kind of went from there. So we picked Rena as one, and then what I actually decided I'm going to try and do is I'm actually going to separate and give, if I can, depending on how the package comes to us. So no promises on this one, but perhaps we're going to give the ABC or Amanda Bobby Cooper shirt to Greg Wilson as the second winner. So we're going to maybe hopefully split it up and give 2 prizes instead of the 1.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. And listen, you know what? All the support that we're getting, I want to thank everybody, on Twitter and Facebook for standing behind us and supporting us. And really what you can do is go to the website, LUBMMA.com, subscribe to our YouTube channel, but check out the news, man. We've got everything you need, MMA needs, it's all right there, man. So please check it out. Aaron, it's been great, man. For LUBMMA, for my partner, Aaron, hey, anytime, buddy. I'm Dan Cox, this is your MMA Up.